Have you ever felt excited about your bank? Probably not. For most of us, banking is something we tolerate, not something we look forward to. It's a necessary part of life, but rarely a source of joy or conversation. Banks are usually grey, boring, and a chore to deal with. The experience is often slow, impersonal, and filled with paperwork. You wait in line, fill out forms, and leave feeling like just another number. But then Monzo arrived, and it didn't feel like a bank at all. It felt more like joining a club or discovering a new tech gadget that everyone wanted to try. Suddenly, people were talking about their bank, showing off their cards and recommending it to friends. It became a topic at parties, in group chats, and even at work. Monzo wasn't just another current account, it was a movement. It was a way to say, I'm part of something new, something better. It tapped into a shared frustration. Banking was broken, old-fashioned and confusing. People were tired of hidden fees, cryptic statements, and customer service that felt like a maze. Monzo asked, what if banking could be easy, transparent, and even fun? What if you could see every transaction instantly, set budgets with a tap, and get real help when you needed it? People were ready for it. They lined up at pop-ups, invited their friends, and shared their excitement online. It was more than a bank, it was a social movement. The bright coral card became a statement, proof you were part of something new. It stood out in wallets and on tables, sparking curiosity and conversation wherever it appeared. Friends would ask, what's that card? And the answer was always, you have to get one. It was a badge of belonging, a way to show you were ahead of the curve. Monzo became a symbol of being modern and in control. It was about more than money. It was about freedom, simplicity, and being part of a community that valued innovation. It was a lifestyle choice wrapped in a simple app. Managing your money felt effortless and even a little bit fun. Every time you spent, you got an instant notification. No more waiting for transactions to clear, no more guessing your balance. It was banking that fit your life, not the other way around. So how did a bank become a cult brand? By understanding what people really wanted. Monzo listened, adapted, and built features that solved real problems. Monzo built a community, not just a product. They invited customers to help shape the future, making everyone feel like a co-creator. Customers felt like they were part of the journey. They shared feedback, celebrated milestones, and watched the company grow from the inside. This is the story of how a small startup with a crazy-colored card shook up one of the oldest industries in the world and made banking something people could finally get excited about. Traditional banking was a nightmare. Long queues, endless paperwork, and limited hours. The experience felt designed to be inconvenient and intimidating. Even phone support was a hassle, with endless hold music and confusing departments. Paperwork was endless, full of jargon no one understood. It felt like banks wanted things complicated so you wouldn't ask questions. After the 2008 financial crisis, trust in banks hit rock bottom. Scandals and huge bonuses for bankers made people feel powerless. Banks seemed like faceless corporations that didn't care about customers. Meanwhile, our lives were moving online, but banks were stuck in the past. We could do everything else on our phones, so why not banking? The frustration was building, and people were desperate for a bank that understood modern life. The stage was set for a revolution. In the middle of all this frustration, a group of friends had a radical idea: build a bank for the smartphone era. No branches, no paperwork, just a smart, easy-to-use app. Opening an account took minutes. Just download the app, snap your ID, and record a quick video. Your account was ready almost instantly, and your card arrived days later. The app was clean, intuitive, and gave instant notifications every time you spent money. No more waiting for transactions to appear. Everything was real-time. Spending was automatically categorized, giving you a clear picture of your habits. Monzo introduced features that just made sense: fee-free spending abroad, instant money transfers, and the ability to freeze your card in the app. These weren't revolutionary in tech, but in banking, they were game-changing. Monzo solved everyday problems the big banks ignored. For the first time, people felt in control of their money. Banking finally caught up with the way we live. To stand out in a crowded market, Monzo knew they needed to do something truly bold, something that would make people stop and take notice. So they made a decision that would change everything. They introduced a card in a color no one had ever seen before in banking: hot coral. It was a shade so bright, so unexpected, that it immediately set Monzo apart from every other bank out there. The card didn't look like a traditional bank card at all. Instead, it looked like it belonged in the hands of a tech innovator or as part of a futuristic gadget. It was playful, modern, and a little bit rebellious, everything Monzo wanted to represent. The design was intentional. This card was meant to be seen, not tucked away in a wallet or hidden at the bottom of a purse. It was a statement piece, a conversation starter, and a badge of belonging to something new. While other banks clung to their safe, conservative blues and blacks, Monzo's hot coral card was impossible to ignore. It practically shouted for attention, making every other card look dull by comparison. Every time someone pulled out their Monzo card to pay, it sparked curiosity and conversation. Friends, cashiers, even strangers would ask, "Wow, what card is that?" Suddenly, banking was cool, and people wanted to be part of it. The card itself became Monzo's best advertisement. No expensive TV commercials or billboards were needed. The card did all the talking simply by being seen in the wild. Soon, people were snapping photos of their cards and sharing them on social media. Instagram feeds and Twitter timelines lit up with images of the vibrant card, turning it into a digital status symbol. Having a Monzo card meant you were in the know, part of a new wave of digital banking that was changing the way people thought about money. It was a sign you were ahead of the curve, embracing the future. Monzo didn't need to rely on big-budget ad campaigns or celebrity endorsements. Their customers became their most passionate marketers, spreading the word through genuine excitement and word of mouth. The story behind the color is almost as surprising as the card itself. The hot coral shade was chosen almost by accident, simply because it stood out on a cluttered designer's desk, making it easy to spot among a sea of samples. But what started as a happy accident quickly became a beloved feature. People loved the boldness, the fun, and the sense of individuality it brought. That single spontaneous choice ended up defining Monzo's entire visual identity, setting the tone for everything that followed. The hot coral card became a viral sensation, spreading across social media and catching the eye of anyone who saw it. It was a masterclass in word-of-mouth marketing, showing that sometimes the simplest ideas can have the biggest impact. In the end, Monzo's brand became instantly recognizable thanks to a simple, bold piece of plastic that turned an everyday object into a cultural icon. Most banks see customers as numbers on a spreadsheet, just another account, another transaction. But Monzo set out to do something radically different. They didn't just want to serve people, they wanted to bring them together to build a real community around their brand. From day one, Monzo invited users to join the journey, not as passive customers, but as active participants in shaping the future of banking. They launched online forums where anyone could give direct feedback, share ideas, and suggest new features. These weren't just ignored suggestion boxes. Monzo's team listened, responded, and acted. Monzo even posted their product roadmap online for all to see, letting users vote on which features should be built next. This level of openness was unheard of in banking. Ideas like pots for saving, simple visual ways to organize your money, came directly from these community conversations. Early salary payments, a feature that let people access their pay a day early, was another innovation born from listening to real needs. Customers felt truly valued and empowered, more like co-creators than clients. They weren't just using a bank, they were helping to build it. Monzo's crowdfunding campaigns took this sense of ownership even further, inviting users to invest in the company itself. Suddenly, users weren't just customers, they were shareholders with a real stake in Monzo's success and future. In 2016, Monzo raised £1 million in just 96 seconds, a record-breaking show of trust and enthusiasm from their community. Thousands became investors overnight, deepening their loyalty and sense of belonging. Monzo was also open about mistakes, sharing updates and apologies when things went wrong instead of hiding behind corporate walls. They communicated honestly and directly, building a culture of transparency and accountability that set them apart from traditional banks. This transparency built trust, a world away from the silence and secrecy of big banks, where customers often feel left in the dark. By treating customers as partners, Monzo created passionate advocates. These weren't just users, they became Monzo evangelists, eager to spread the word. The community promoted and defended the brand everywhere, on social media, in conversations with friends, and even in online debates. Monzo's approach turned customers into a tribe, united by shared values and a sense of ownership. That tribe became Monzo's greatest asset, a living, breathing community that helped the company grow, adapt, and thrive in a crowded industry. With all the buzz, it's easy to forget Monzo is still a business. So how does a bank with free accounts and few fees make money? Monzo saves on costs by skipping expensive branches and focusing on tech. They earn from interchange fees, tiny cuts from every card transaction. With millions of users, those pennies add up. They also make money from lending, offering overdrafts and personal loans, charging interest. Premium accounts like Monzo Plus add another revenue stream, offering extra features for a monthly fee. The challenge is balancing great free services with sustainable income. Monzo's model is all about transparency and value. Monzo's journey hasn't been smooth. Building a bank from scratch is expensive, and for years, Monzo lost money. The big question, could they turn loyal fans into a sustainable business? Competition heated up. Other digital banks and high street banks improved their apps. Suddenly, a great app was the minimum, not a unique selling point. Monzo also faced regulatory scrutiny and public criticism, especially over account freezes. Balancing smooth service with legal responsibilities is tough. In 2023, Monzo finally reported a few months of profit, a huge milestone. They focused on lending and subscriptions to get there. But the pressure's still on. Can they stay profitable and keep innovating? The challenge now is to grow smart, not just fast. What makes someone a fan of a brand? It's about connection and shared values. For Monzo's loyal users, it's more than a bank. It's an identity. Meeting another Monzo user feels like joining the same club. This sense of belonging turns customers into advocates. People don't just use Monzo, they recommend it to everyone. They become unpaid salespeople driven by genuine belief. Monzo nurtured this community from the start, sharing successes and failures openly. They talk to customers like friends, using simple human language. This builds trust and respect, the opposite of old-school banks. Monzo solved real problems and made people feel good about money. That's why people stick around. It's not just the card or the app, it's the feeling that Monzo is on your side. That's what creates true, lasting loyalty. What can we learn from Monzo? Even the oldest industries can be transformed by new ideas. Monzo proved banking didn't have to be slow or frustrating. By putting customers first and using smart tech, they created something people love, their biggest impact, forcing the whole industry to improve. Now, even big banks offer features Monzo pioneered. The real lesson: listen to customers, solve their problems, and build a community. Be transparent, be human, and dare to be different. Monzo turned a boring necessity into a brand people are passionate about. The future belongs to companies that understand this.